What is your sexual orientation? Are you straight? Are you homosexual? Or are you you? Orientate means to position yourself, and how you position yourself sexually is so much more complicated than whom you are attracted to, because here's the truth. There isn't just 2 or hell, even 10 sexual orientations. There is billions. As a matter of fact, every single one of us has the right to create our very own unique recipe of sexual orientation. So today I wanted to put together a series of different little quizzes to help you guys determine what your sexual orientation is. First and foremost, we're going to start with the Kinsey scale. This goes from 0 to 6. Now this scale is designed to help people figure out on a scale of heterosexual to homosexual, where do they lie? Because the truth of the matter is, not all of us are 0s and not all of us are 6s. Most of us probably lay somewhere in between. You get to rate yourself on 2 different bases. One, on actual action. Then secondly, you rate yourself in fantasy. So perhaps you are a 0 on the Kinsey scale for completely heterosexual, you've never had a homosexual experience, but you fantasize often about homosexuality, you watch gay porn, so maybe you're more of a 3 in terms of fantasy. What's great about this scale is it takes the pressure off of you to figure it all out. What are you? Define yourself. Simply, what have you done and what do you think about? And that should give you the 2 numbers to help you define what your sexual preference is in terms of gender. Next up, a very popular one, Gary Chapman's love languages. I live by this because to me it is no different than saying, hey, I'm Shan Booty and I speak English. You're Jack Doorknob and you speak Scottish. Is that a language or is that an accent? So there's 5 different love language, which is physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of kindness, quality time, and gifts. There's an amazing quiz on the website you can take to figure out what your love language is, what your secondary languages are, and what's not so important to you. I take it with every single new partner I have, and trust me, it works wonders. So figure out your love language and start telling people what you speak. Piggybacking off of love language is sex language, and as I've been doing one-on-one counseling, I realized just how important it is for people to define what their sexual language is, because we're not taught that, hey, you probably do have one. And if somebody starts speaking to you in a language that doesn't really suit you, it can be a complete turnoff and you don't understand why, even though you're deeply attracted to somebody. Number 1 is direct. Direct is, hey, do you want to F-U-C-K in the D-A-R-K dark? Then you have sensual. Sensual means they want seduction, they want candles, they want massages, they want massage candles. The 3rd language is cat, and these are people, when they want you, they'll let you know. As you know with cats, you can't just go up and start petting them. Pussies will let you know when they're ready to be pet, and don't go assuming otherwise because you might get your ass clawed. The 4th is mental. These people want you to make their mind come first. Mental people, if they don't feel it here, they're definitely not going to feel it down there. Last but not least is the negotiator. These are people who need you to do something for them before they do something for you. It's a scratch your back, scratch their back, they'll scratch yours. You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. Next up, let's decide your level of commitment. This one to me is so important, it's becoming increasingly more popular as we move out of the one-size-fits-all society that the Gen Xers and baby boomers subscribe to, and that includes monogamy. Now, monogamy has been rammed down everyone's throat as what is normal, but statistically, less than 5% of mammals are actually truly monogamous, and a lot of humans don't fall under that category. So it's important for you to really assess, are you monogamous or are you monogamous or are you polyamorous? Now there's a lot of different things in between there, but I'm going to define it to those 2. So there's a lot more options for people who decide to say, hey, you know, I'm not one person at a time, and there's nothing wrong with that. As long as you can define that, communicate that to your partner, and don't lie and make people believe you're something that you truly are not. Next up, I want to talk about the 5 different types of love. What's different about this one versus the other test is not really about how you yourself feel, it's more how you feel towards somebody else. There is agape love, which is the love for everybody, the birds and the trees and the mamas and the knees. There is phileo love, which is love that you have for friends. It is that deep homie friend love, I got your back, you got mine. Then there's storge love, which is a family love, which is blood is thicker than water. I will love you to the end of time, that unconditional we'll go to jail for each other. And last but not least is Eros love. And Eros love is almost a combination of all three, but is also romantic. That can be the one that drives us to do the craziest things, but also can be the most satisfying thing in life. And so determining how you feel about somebody in the spectrum of those four loves will help you decide where that relationship should fall. And lastly, rate what is your sexual appetite. Are you conservative? Are you freaky? Are you kinky, or do you have a fetish? Now, conservative generally means that you have a set of ideals of acts that you will engage in, that anything outside of that you're really not comfortable with because maybe there's morals or religion or family values at play, and for you, your sexuality is predefined to certain activities that you have deemed to be acceptable. Next up is freaky. Now, freaky is, I'm down to try a couple of stuff. A lot of people consider themselves freaks, but they're not necessarily kinks because they're not gonna get the whips and chains out, but they will bend over backwards and pop that thing in the air, if you know what I'm saying. Now, kinky is when you're ready to start experimenting with something outside of the two partner mold. Be that threesomes, be that with toys. And then lastly is fetish. And now fetish is when something outside of the box is so much a part of your sexual repertoire that it's almost a part of your sexual orientation. Like, hey, I'm Shannon Boudram. I am a straight woman. I'm attracted to men and feet. Like, feet are just as equal to me a part of my arousal process as a man would be. So when you have a fetish, it's just a very important part of your sexual arousal process that can't be ignored and isn't optional and is not up for debate. It's just what you like. So in the comment section below, tell me what your sexual orientation is. If you missed anything, go into the info box and all of this will be listed in there as well too. All right, later skaters. And if you don't skate, don't hate. Just be great. I'm late on my period, but I'm not pregnant. What kind of rap is this? Okay, so in a very crazy series of events, Cleo has challenged me to a sex quiz off. I predict 100% on my end.
How much does she know about dicks? Here we go. The word penis comes from the Latin word meaning organ, tail, meat, or bone.
I actually don't know the answer.
Oh!